Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, I'm going to give you 2 tips on how to enhance the performance of your small F-clamps. Recently, I bought a batch of this type of F-clamp, and before I'm going to put these in use, I'm going to take some paste wax, and I'm going to go ahead and put some paste wax on this before I even use this clamp and get glue all over it. Now that's obvious to put paste wax on these areas to keep the glue from sticking, but I also put it on the threads. This will help lubricate the threads, and of course when you are really trying to crank down and get some pressure on there, it helps ease the friction between the screw and the captive nut here. You can see this clamp was used prior to putting paste wax on it, and it has some stains on it, and there's actually a little bit of residual glue still on there. So I take my other clamps and periodically clean those, but I also go back and I wax those as well, and that'll keep glue from building up on those later on. And if you do get glue on there, the paste wax basically has a film over the metal. The glue doesn't like to stick to the paste wax, and it will peel right off. And I have some larger F-clamps like this, and I'll do the same thing to these. I'll put paste wax on the shaft, the pads, and even the threads. Now my second tip for you, as far as this type clamp, is using a rubber band. And the reason that I put a rubber band on there is if you are clamping something that's really close like this, and you're trying to clamp, 2 pieces of wood here, you're always moving around and these things slide on you. So by putting the rubber band on there, it's gonna kind of help when you're clamping something. You can easily clamp that, but if you clamp this here and you bump it a few times, it's going to open up on you. So by having a rubber band on there, that kind of gives you some clamp, if you will, pressure already. Obviously it's just on there to keep this from sliding. It's not there to use for clamping, but you can use different size rubber bands. So here's a thicker one. It's kind of small and tight. Then you have a thinner one that's larger, and then some smaller ones. These are the best for this type clamp because it will hold it closer, and then when you get ready to clamp something, it's already close there. It just kind of helps use one hand rather than trying to put both hands on there if you're trying to hold your pieces together and clamp at the same time. Also, if you've seen my video on the crosscut sled stop block, you can make some of these blocks with notches in them, and they tend to stay on the shaft of the clamp, so that if you're clamping something, you don't want to mar the wood, you can throw that on there, clamp it up. Obviously you can't use a rubber band with that, but it gives you some options on different heights, but this will kind of stick on there and stay. So that's really nice. And you can make some, that one's made out of poplar. This is just plywood here. Kind of the same size. You can make them smaller. I think these are 3 by 3.5, something like that. But you can also make bigger ones if you need multiple clamps to go on there. And there you have it. I'll link to the video for the crosscut sled stop block. I appreciate you stopping by and watching this episode. Please consider subscribing and check out some of the other videos that I have on my YouTube channel. Thanks.